What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Now, I've noticed over the past couple days that there are a lot of new players in this game. With the Rise of Skywalker coming out, the Celebration Edition, and it being Christmas time, there's thousands of new players. I can't go a single match without seeing someone that's below a level 10. So I figured since this game has been out for over 2 years and it has received numerous amounts of updates and tweaks and changes, I thought I would do a video to just sort of give some basic tips for these new players. So any of you veteran players out there, you guys probably know most of this stuff, but who's to say that you might not learn something as well. But just to put that out there, this is not geared towards you veteran players. This is for the new players or players that are coming back after a long time and just players that don't put that many hours into this game. So these tips are going to be kind of rapid fire because I have a few of them I want to give. But before we get into the video, if you guys would like to see more tips and trick videos, please give this video a thumb up. It helps let me know that you guys want to see more. It helps out in the algorithm. It shows YouTube that you guys enjoyed the video, and it just really helps me out. And to start us off, let's go with the loading screens. There's a lot of things that this game just doesn't tell you while you're playing it. And literally the only way you can figure this stuff out is by looking at these tips and these loading screens. And a lot of people just overlook them because it's a loading screen. Who pays attention to a loading screen? It just shows the planet and it shows these little tips across the screen. Well, if you've been playing this for a while, you probably don't read these at all. And let's be honest, if you're loading into a game, you're probably talking to your friends or looking at your phone or checking YouTube or text or whatever it is. No one's paying attention to loading screens. But these loading screens actually give you some pretty useful tips that you won't find anywhere else. So pay attention to these. If you're a new player, actually take the time to sit there and when you're loading in between the matches, read those tips because they're actually really important. And then up next, let's talk credits. A lot of people want to earn credits in this game. That is how you unlock different outfits and different skins and stuff for your characters. So within the next year of support that this game is getting, all you guys have the Celebration Edition, you have all the skins that are in the game. Well, you're not going to get the future skins, so you guys need to save up credits. And the milestones is one of the best ways to do that. A lot of these are super easy. You can unlock them in arcade, instant action, campaign, multiplayer. You can even get a lot of them in co-op. Co-op's super easy. It counts as multiplayer since it's technically you matchmake with 3 other people and you just kill bots. Like, a lot of these milestones are really easy to obtain, and they're just real quick, easy credits. There's daily challenges that are worth 500 apiece, and you can get 3 new ones every single day, so those add up. You can get credits just from playing arcade mode. And then if you get first place in any multiplayer match, you get 100 extra credits than the losing team, so that's nice. And then I would say modes to avoid for getting credits are probably Capital Supremacy, any of the long modes. And then the best modes to kind of farm for credits would probably be something smaller like Blast or Strike or sometimes Galactic Assault depending on the map. Those are going to be your go-to for getting credits. And then something that the game does not just straight up tell you is that on some maps there are these little areas that you can interact with. For example, on the Death Star you can turn on and off the bridge, and then on Felucia you can turn on and off the laser grid fence. And then there's one on Tatooine too where you can interact with the band in the cantina. So just keep an eye out for little things like this scattered throughout the maps. Some of them can work in your favor. For example, the bridge in the Death Star is a good cutoff point to stop the rebels from progressing, or vice versa. It'll stop stormtroopers from flanking the rebels. It's just little small things that you need to pay attention for. Actually take the time to explore the maps if you get the chance, because you'll find a few things like this and a few Easter eggs along the way. And then this one is fairly simple, but a lot of new players might not know this. In Starfighter Assault and any Starfighter combat in Galactic Assault or wherever, you have to aim for that little circle above the enemy. Most people just shoot at where the enemy is and not where they're going to be. That little circle shows the direction that the enemy is going into, so if you shoot that little circle, odds are you're going to kill the enemy 90% of the time. Because your blaster bolts have to take time to travel to the target, so if you're aiming ahead of them, then your bolts will meet up with the ship. It seems kind of obvious, but it's not exactly explained, and a lot of people just don't realize that. And then another small tip is on the final phase of every single Galactic Assault match, there is 4 heroes allowed. During the first phase and second phase, sometimes third phase, on every single Galactic Assault map, it's always capped at 2 heroes throughout the entire match. But once you get to the final phase, you can have 4 heroes. So if you time it correctly, you can sort of be dead or respawn right as that final phase is about to begin, and you might get lucky enough to get yourself one of those 4 heroes. That's why it gets really hectic towards the end of those final phases. And then another tip is all the vehicles have weak spots. The back of the ATST is where it is its weakest. Same for the AAT tank for the droids. If you shoot at its back spot, like behind the cannon, just right underneath, it does massive amounts of damage. If you have any sort of grenades or ion attachments, any sort of anti-vehicle weaponry, as you can tell just by this clip, my clone commando melts through these vehicles. So when you see a vehicle, try to shoot its back. And then here's a tip that a lot of people don't know, and I almost never see it happen in Galactic Assault, and that is if your team has weakened the walkers enough by playing the objective, if you are in the snowspeeder, you can actually play this little mini game and you can tow hook the walkers. Now, like I said, this is kind of rare. This is like a last resort kind of deal. I've seen people tow hook both of them and was able to win the match. It is possible, but you actually have to weaken the walkers enough to be able to do this. If you don't weaken the walkers, then the option does not come up with the snowspeeder and then you just can't do it. So yeah, if you are in a snowspeeder, be sure to look out towards the end of the first phase when the walkers get really close to the hangars. That is when it will let you sort of fly around in circles, and you don't have to push any buttons. You just start flying in circles. It will guide you in a path, and then yeah, that's all you have to do. And then since we're already on Hoth, we have the AT-AT's underbelly. Same with the ATTE on like Geonosis in the Clone Wars era. They have a weak spot which is underneath of them. If you manage to get underneath of them as like a heavy or a reinforcement or whatever, you can do massive amounts of damage if you happen to get underneath. So instead of just shooting the walker from any angle, if you can get underneath of them, you can do way more damage, you'll get way more battle points as a result, your score will go up, and you'll do more damage to the walker. Same applies to the ATM6s on Crate. And speaking of Crate, there are these kind of turret turbo cannon things that you can get into, and a lot of people don't realize this. There's still veteran players don't realize this because these turrets, they're more of like an anti-air turret. They can't kill infantry almost at all. They really suck against infantry because jet troopers will get on top of the ATM6s and I'll try to shoot them off and it does no damage to them. So these things are good at taking out TIE fighters, and they're actually decent at damaging the walkers if someone happens to take their shields down. So yeah, these are actually something that you can get into. You just go up and just hold in the X or the square button, just like the turrets on Hoth. And if you had like an entire team and like 4 or 5 of these things, you could actually do a lot of damage to those walkers if you had a team that was coordinated enough to actually work together to do that. And then during my streams and stuff, I always get the question of what is the fastest way I can level up my heroes or my assault class or my officer. And with the addition of co-op, I'm willing to bet that that is easily the best way to level up anything. Now, unfortunately, we do not have co-op for the original trilogy yet, but we do have it for the sequel and the prequel trilogies. So if you want to level up your Kylo or your Obi-Wan or your Anakin, co-op is a great way to do that. You still get experience, especially on days where there's triple XP. And then every single Wednesday they have double XP, which gives people a reason to play during the middle of the week. And then, like right now, for the holiday season, they have the triple XP event going on, and they often have triple XP probably about once a month. So if you ever see a XP event going on, that is how people get their high-level heroes. Like when you see the max-level Anakins or the max-level Reys or Kylos or whatever, it's because they go into Capital Supremacy or in co-op and they just farm the AI. And then as you can see from the match I played, my Chewbacca went up a couple levels just for playing this triple XP co-op. So that is by far the best way to level up your heroes. And then the final tip I have of this video is that not all lightsabers do the same amount of damage. If you're a new player, you might just have the assumption of Darth Vader can do the same damage with his lightsaber as Obi-Wan, or Anakin can do the same damage as Dooku. You would think that that's how lightsabers work, but not in Battlefront 2. In this game, it depends on the character, it depends on their abilities. For example, Anakin's base damage is pretty high compared to like Yoda's. Yoda does not do very much base damage at all with his swings. And then depending on the character and their star cards, Anakin can really pack a punch, Grievous can really pack a punch, And then the strongest out of all these Saber heroes is Count Dooku. Dooku, depending on which star cards, you can 3-hit kill somebody, which is very, very powerful. And then since we're on the topic of Saber heroes, if you hit someone in the back with a lightsaber, it can be regular infantry, reinforcements, or heroes. When you hit them in the back, it does extra damage. So if you have a Saber hero, always try to aim and hit somebody in the back. For example, if you are Kylo and you freeze somebody, run around to their backside and hit them in the back as they're frozen instead of just hitting them in the front. You'll do more damage that way. But that is going to do it for all these tips. I could give a million more tips, but depending on if you guys like this video or not will depend on if I make more tip videos. If you guys enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. It lets me know that you guys enjoyed the video and lets me know that you guys want to see more. And then if you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button and let me know down in the comments what you guys would like to see next. And if there's any tips that you guys think that the rest of the community should know, let them know down in the comment section. But that is going to do it for me, guys. Be sure to check out another video, and I will talk to you all next time.
Will you join me? Accept your fate. I grew impatient.